Title: I discovered that my father created a trust fund only for my entitled sister, so I stopped paying for their vacation home and ceased all extra help. A few weeks later, he texted me, "The property taxes are due." No hello, no check-in. I calmly answered him, "Just so you know." I found out by accident. I was sitting at my parents' kitchen counter, balancing receipts and online payments for the lake house, the one they'd asked me to help maintain during their retirement, the one I'd been quietly funding for 5 years, while they struggled with bills and barely scraped by. My sister Julia walked in, tossed her designer bag onto the table, and said, "Dad set up that new trust thing for me. He says I'll never have to worry about taxes again." Finally, I froze. "What trust?" She blinked. "Oh, I thought you knew." She didn't elaborate. She didn't have to. Later that night, after they went to bed, I logged into the family's shared legal file storage, where I'd uploaded documents over the years. Tucked in a folder marked Estate Drafts, I found it. Julia Morgan Discretionary Trust. Created 9 months ago. Beneficiary: Julia Morgan, funded with $450,000 from primary retirement investments. Clause: property expenses, travel, lifestyle needs. My name was nowhere. Not as a beneficiary, not as a backup, not even as a consideration. I sat in silence, blinking at the screen. I wasn't shocked. I was confirmed. Confirmed that the extra support I'd been providing, over $22,000 across 5 years, wasn't appreciated. It was expected. Confirmed that Julia, who never worked more than part-time and had burnout every 3 months, was seen as the one who needed help, while I, who helped cover their home maintenance, groceries, insurance premiums, and vacation house property taxes, was invisible. The next morning, I made my decision. I sent one email, no emotion, no anger, just a subject line that read, "Support termination, effective immediately." The body: as of today, I will no longer be covering any property expenses or supplemental assistance. Please make alternate arrangements moving forward. Claire. My phone stayed quiet for days. No reply, no call, until exactly 3 weeks later, one message from my father. "The property taxes are due." No hello, no check-in, just a prompt. I stared at it, then typed my response. "Hi, Dad. I'm sure the trust you created for Julia can help you with that. Wishing you the best. Send. Block." They thought I'd fund my own replacement. Instead, I funded my exit. And now, I was done pretending they didn't show me exactly who they were. Who's paying now? 2 days after I blocked my father's number, I got a text from Julia. "Hey, Dad says you're being kind of dramatic. Can we talk?" I left it on read. For 5 years, I'd paid the insurance on the vacation home, split costs on maintenance, and covered off-season repairs without question. But now, I was done being the emergency fund in disguise. By mid-month, the cracks were already showing. The insurance company sent them a notice. Payment overdue. The lawn service I had on autopay. Canceled. Their vacation home HOA started emailing directly, confused about the missing dues. I didn't respond to any of them, because for years, I was expected to handle it all quietly. Now, they could figure it out without me. Then came the emails. My mother wrote first. "Claire, we're not sure why you're pulling away. We've always appreciated you. Please don't let one misunderstanding ruin everything." Misunderstanding. She knew about the trust. She helped set it up. Appreciation doesn't look like hiding a 6-figure fund for one child while asking another to Venmo the property manager every month. Still, I didn't respond, because this wasn't an argument. It was a resignation, and I had no intention of reapplying. I made a few quiet changes that week, removed my name from their shared Dropbox folders, deleted my saved payment info from their utility accounts, transferred ownership of the lake house mailbox notifications to their personal emails. Then I called my accountant and officially reclassified all family-related payments as unreimbursed personal losses. Why? Because I was no longer investing in people who treated me like a placeholder. I got one last email from my dad. "I assume you're still upset. I didn't realize this would matter so much to you. The trust was just a way to keep your sister stable. You're always fine." There it was, the root of it all. You're always fine. That sentence they used to justify neglect. That sentence they used to silence the reliable one. So I drafted one final reply. It was 2 lines. Exactly. I was fine because I worked for it. You gave her a parachute while I built my own wings. Now you can fly with her. Send. No signature. No goodbye. The cost of comfort. The spring property taxes went unpaid. I knew because the county emailed me directly. I had once been the primary contact. I forwarded the message to my father with no subject line. That was it. A week later, I got a message from the property manager. "Hey Claire, your dad asked me to see if you were still handling payments. They're 2 months behind on the house. Looks like repairs are overdue too." I texted back, "Please direct all communication to the legal owners. Thanks." Block. Meanwhile, Julia took to social media. Her usual aspirational nonsense. Sun-drenched brunches, staged candid selfies, and soft-focus reels of her playing the victim. Some people will punish you for needing more help than they're willing to give. Protect your peace. I didn't reply, but I screenshotted it. Because a trust fund isn't asking for help. It's a parachute packed in secrecy, while the other sibling builds the plane. Then the summer came, and the vacation home, it sat dark, overgrown, empty. Their backup plan, the one they leaned on every time they needed a reset, was gone. Friends started asking questions. "Why didn't you guys open the lake house this year? I thought Claire was taking care of that." My father told them we had a disagreement. He didn't say what about, because if he did, he'd have to admit he built a financial fortress around the entitled one, while squeezing every dollar out of the one who never complained. Then came the moment that told me everything had shifted. My mother called my work line. I stared at the screen for a few rings before letting it go to voicemail. Her message was clipped, awkward, unpracticed. "Claire, your father's not well. He's under a lot of pressure. We were hoping you might reconsider helping, just for a little while. Julia's trust doesn't cover the whole house." I played it twice, then deleted it, because this wasn't about a house. It never was. It was about being good enough to use, but never good enough to protect. And now, they needed protection, and I was finally done giving it. What stability really looks like. I didn't reply to the voicemail. I didn't call, didn't check in, didn't ask how my father was doing, because after years of being their fallback, their cushion, their behind-the-scenes problem solver, I finally understood something. They didn't miss me. They missed what I did for them. And I was no longer available for transactions disguised as relationships. Instead, I poured energy into my own life. I booked a solo trip to Maine, 3 days in a lakefront cottage, where the silence was peaceful instead of punishing. I brought my laptop, a bottle of wine, and a stack of books I never had time to read when I was too busy putting out their fires. It was the first time in years I felt still. Not waiting for the next request, not bracing for guilt, just being. While I watched sunrise mist rise off the water, I got a news alert. Longview property owners hit, with late penalties after tax defaults. I clicked it. There it was, the family vacation home, listed publicly among properties with overdue balances and pending liens. I took a screenshot, saved it in a folder called Boundaries, not because I felt triumphant, but because I felt free. Around that time, my aunt reached out. She'd always been neutral, quiet, thoughtful, just outside the inner circle of drama. She invited me to coffee. I hesitated, then accepted. She was already seated when I arrived, 2 cups waiting. "Claire," she said softly, "they're falling apart." I said nothing. She stirred her tea. "They miss you." "No," I said gently. "They miss the version of me they could count on without ever choosing." Her eyes met mine. "Good," she said. "About time." That night, I updated my living trust. I created a scholarship fund in my name for first-gen daughters, supporting aging parents. Not named after my family, not tied to them, just me. Because for once, I wasn't cleaning up after someone else. I was building something they couldn't touch. No longer the backup plan. It had been 4 months since I stopped funding the vacation home. 4 months since the taxes went unpaid. Since the roof repair quote expired. Since Julia's trust began running dry. They hadn't spoken to me since the voicemail. Until now. I was back at work, reviewing budgets, when my phone buzzed with a new text. "Dad, I know things have been tense. I was wondering if we could talk about the house." "No. Hi, Claire." "No. How are you?" "Just the house." The same house I helped keep afloat while they funneled retirement savings into a private trust for my sister. I took a long breath, leaned back in my chair, and read it again. Then I typed, "You created security for the child who never gave you stability. You ignored the one who already gave it to you for free. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done." I didn't send it. I deleted it. Instead, I replied, "I recommend listing it." 2 hours later, my sister tried calling me. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "You're seriously going to let them sell the house? Over this? You're being unbelievably selfish." Selfish, the word echoed. After 5 years of funding their backup plan, after sacrificing time, savings, and emotional bandwidth, they still didn't get it. Because when you've always been the giver, the moment you stop, they don't see the years you gave. They only see the silence. I didn't call back. I donated another $5,000 to my scholarship fund instead. Added a line on the website. Created for the overlooked daughters, the quiet builders, the family backbone that finally walked away. That night, I slept without checking my phone once. The next morning, a for sale listing popped up in my inbox. The vacation house. Reduced. Rushed. Falling apart at the seams. I clicked it, skimmed the photos, and smiled, because I knew what that house really was now. Proof that they were never holding me together. I was holding them. You chose the favorite. Now, live with the silence. The house sold 2 weeks later. Below market value. No bidding war. No emotional send-off. Just a quiet line on a property transfer report. One more thing they lost when I stepped away. They never told me it sold. I only knew because the HOA sent me a final update. My email was still in the system. I replied, "Please remove me from all communications. I am no longer associated." Done. Life got lighter after that. Not just because I stopped sending money, but because I stopped performing. Stopped playing the role of the dependable daughter, the financial fixer, the one who always understood. I stopped managing their comfort, and finally started living my own. I got promoted that fall, moved into a quiet brownstone with a garden out back, adopted a rescue dog. No one helped me move, and I didn't ask, because independence is lonely at first, but eventually it becomes freedom. Christmas came. No invitation. Just a text from my mother. "Hope you're well. Wish things were different." I didn't reply, because things were different. I wasn't hurt anymore. I wasn't waiting for their love to feel like enough. I had stopped standing in rooms where I was tolerated, and started building a life where I was valued. I left one last gift behind, though. The scholarship fund, now renamed the Claire Morgan Foundation. For the daughters who stayed strong and walked away anyway. My story, Our story was no longer about exclusion. It was about elevation. They chose the entitled daughter, built her a trust fund in silence, told me I'd be fine because I always figured it out. And I did. But now, they no longer get a seat at the table I built with my own hands. Some families pass down money, some pass down wounds, and some teach you everything by showing you exactly who not to become. You are not alone, and you are so much stronger than you think. Tap that subscribe button to join Twisted Justice, where we share tales that heal, inspire, and remind you that even the deepest heartbreak can lead to the most beautiful new beginning. Share this with someone who needs a reminder that revenge isn't always about getting even. Sometimes, it's just about getting better.